G'day folks, in this video we're going to take a look at the DPRK military parade that went on 3 days ago in North Korea. Now, this is your usual North Korean parade with all the bluster, the show, and all the propaganda and everything that goes on with communist North Korea and Kim Jong-un. But there's a bunch of new developments that have come out of this in the last couple of days, which I haven't heard anybody in social media talking about, and I've certainly haven't seen any analysis on YouTube. Now, this parade goes for 2.5 hours. I watched the whole thing and I cut it down into the main points for you, so you don't have to endure all of the communist propaganda, which is kind of funny in some ways. It's such old-fashioned stuff, straight out of the 1950s. It's really quite strange when you watch it in that respect. But right at the very start of the video, you'll see that the North Koreans all of a sudden have a drone capability. Now, we know that the Chinese are in the United States. They work in these military industrial complex organizations, and they go in there and they steal everything, right? They stole the plans for the Joint Strike Fighter. They've stolen all sorts of plans that Lockheed Martin have been working on. And you'll see all of a sudden the North Koreans have a Predator type drone. It looks exactly like a Predator. You're like, what the hell? Where did that come from? Well, the Chinese nicked the plans and gave it to the North Koreans, and they built their own drone because they don't have an Air Force capability. It's as if in the 1950s, they just skipped over the Air Force. They didn't need it. And here we are 70 years later, and they've just gone straight to the drone tech. You'll also see, as another interesting development, they've got an RQ4 Global Hawk style drone. Where do you think they got that from? Where did the plans come from? Well, the Chinese nicked the plans and they gave it to the North Koreans. Where the hell did you think it came from? What the hell? It's a pretty interesting development that they've got this drone capability, this ISR capability, and there's a bit of a propaganda video in the middle of this. As you go through, you'll see it, and they're showing the Predator-style drone firing air-to-ground missiles. So I don't know if it's got an anti-armor capability or what, but we have the Hellfire, we have Brimstone, we have a bunch of different things that we can put onto those things, but I'm not sure what they've got, but they've certainly got that capability, and that's what they're showcasing to us. Now, I don't know what any of this means, folks. Is it just propaganda? Do they only have half a dozen of them? They showed 4 of them on parade. Do they have any more? Who knows, right? We do know that it's estimated that they have 100 nuclear bombs, but do they have 100 nuclear delivery systems? The short answer is no. We estimate that they have 7 to 8 nuclear delivery systems. And what you'll see on parade is something pretty interesting. They've got these large torpedoes on parade on the back of a semi-trailer. I think there's 3 of them, and they're showing us their capability that they have with this torpedo technology. So they've obviously spent some time developing that. Is that based on Poseidon technology from the Russians, I wonder? I don't know. Sergei Shoigu, the Russian defense minister, can be seen standing next to Kim Jong-un on the parade lectern, saluting everybody as they do their march past, and he looks about as unhappy as 10 unhappy people, and there's something wrong with Kim Jong-un as well. He must have a bellyache, or his kids are annoying him or something like that, because he seems pretty unhappy on what looks like one of the biggest military parades that they've ever had. Now, I cut out all of the DPRK propaganda, so you don't have to listen to the speeches or watch any of that. I cut out all of the infantry and soldiers marching past, because you don't want to see a bunch of goose-stepping communists, because it's like watching a bunch of goose-stepping Nazis. It's really no different, and you don't need to be exposed to any of that. You've seen all of that before. But what is interesting, as they do the vehicle drive-by, the first thing that comes out is a series of what look like modernized versions of tanks. They've got all sorts of optical sighting systems on there. They look like they've got reactive armor on there, and it looks like they've modernized their armor force. Now, once again, I have no idea how many of these that they actually have. There'll be other analysts out there that'll be able to tell you better, and I'm certain that the powers that be know exactly how many of these that are out there. The point is, they're putting these machines on display to show everybody that, hey, we've got this capability. Watch out, we're really prickly. If you get any ideas, we will bite back, and we'll bite back hard. Now, I can also see that on the parade, they have what looks like an Iskander capability. Now, I don't know if the Chinese have given them that tech or the Russians have handed that technology off to them, but it looks like they've now got Iskander-type missiles, so Iskander ballistic missiles, which will represent a serious threat to the South Koreans. But that's nothing that Patriot can't take care of. It's certainly nothing that, from a naval perspective, that SM2, SM3, or certainly SM6 can't take care of either. So that's not really a threat. Point is, they've got something, and they're showing something on parade here that they haven't shown before. It also looks like they're showing some other canister-launched cruise missile capability. So that is a new development as well. So there's literally half a dozen new things that they're showing to us. And as you get to the end of the parade, they wheel out Kim Jong-un's dick, of course. They get the giant ICBM missiles out there, and you can see the ICBMs, and Kim's trying to put his penis on parade again. But one thing that's new, and the new development this time, is that they've got 2 hypersonic glide vehicles. So that looks like it's based on the DF-17 Chinese technology. So they're nuclear missiles, they're ICBMs, but they have the hypersonic glide vehicle on the nose of them. So that is steerable and it can evade all of the defense systems. Well, apparently, who knows, that hasn't been tested in combat. So we don't know what that capability actually is and if it would defeat our systems and anti-ballistic missile defense systems. Point is, they now have a DF-17 capability, which they didn't have before. Now remember, if the North Koreans get one more than 7, meaning 8 ICBMs, it will saturate the defenses of the United States. So if they fired all 7 nukes at them, at the United States that is, in one go, that would deplete all of the ballistic missile shield that covers the continental United States. So if they lob just one more, that one more would get through because there's no way to stop it. So who would think that you can only defend against that many incoming missiles? It's a pretty strange thing, isn't it? But who knows what the powers that be actually are thinking when it comes to these things. What we do know is Kim Jong-un is putting all of this on parade to showcase that his military is modernizing, and they're certainly advancing, and he's standing side by side with cranky pants himself, Sergei Shoigu, and they both look like they're as unhappy as 10 unhappy people. So take a look at the parade and let me know if you spot anything new in there as well. There was one other thing before I go, and I'll let you head off to the parade and watch it all, is it looks like the infantry type soldiers have been completely modernized as well. You can see a lot of them walking around with ballistic glasses, and they've got night vision as well, and there's a series of other things that make them look like modern day soldiers. So they're either being trained by the Chinese or being equipped by the Chinese, or maybe both, because North Korea doesn't do anything without China's approval. And if that's the case, they might be turning into what would be potentially a formidable fighting force. You know, soldier for soldier, they might be pretty good, but if they've got shit leadership, and I suspect that they actually do, it would be terrible leadership. It definitely wouldn't be decentralized in the communist system like the North Koreans have a hold on everything. Then I don't think that would be much of an issue for us. The human wave tactics that the Chinese and the North Koreans used during the 1950s are not going to cut it these days, and it certainly won't work in a modern war and in modern combat. But if they are being trained and equipped by the Chinese, they might be a formidable force, particularly if their leadership is becoming decentralized. If they have a non-commissioned officer corps, sergeants, corporals, that type of thing, then it might be something that's quite different than what we anticipate. Anyway, take a look and let me know if I've missed anything out or if you spot anything in the comments below. All right, here's the video.
공격형 무인기 샛별 9형이 김일성 광장 200m 상공을 2차례 기인하게 됩니다.
70년 한 치 한 치에 너무도 값비싼 희생과 고뇌와 땀을 묻어왔기에 그처럼 기나긴 세월이 갔고, 남들이 걸어온 수세기를 줄잡아 잿더미 위에서 일약 초강국으로 솟구친 나날이어서 짧기로 했던 25,568일. 우리의 영원한 전승의 명절, 승리의 727 만세!